Hello, Culture Matters podcast. Boy, am I excited about this episode today. Before I introduce you to our guest, here's a quote just for this episode. The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I chose this quote today because our guest recently, well, not a new thing, but recently chose to be, period. They have been bodybuilding for, I believe, decades,
Hmm.
as a leading by example in that route. In 2006, they actually founded their own business, Barback Distributions. They have a podcast about God, gratitude, and giving. First Form Legionnaire, which I think is pretty, pretty exemplary of
Yeah.
discipline. And if I'm right, Mark Ferrelli's done this 75 hard over 3 times, which I don't, how many people
Yeah.
I see on social media start that and then stop that. And then it's like you've done it over 3 times. But a leader in the top contractor community, TCS Fit, we have dozens of people that look at him and think, I want to look like that. I want to be like that. And now today I get to share you, my friend, with our audience. So I'm excited.
Me too, Jay. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm looking forward to this. And yeah, I love that quote. I think it's perfect, man, because it says a lot. We are who we choose to be, right? Like we can make up and
Hmm.
hey, first of all, when I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is thank God, like for this new day. That's where it came from. And we're all our accumulation of our daily choices, right, and our habits. So I know there's obviously extenuating circumstances for everybody, but you choose your actions, you choose your decisions. You I mean, you want to get down to the nitty gritty, you choose your thoughts. Like really, if you want to let those thoughts control you. So great quote, love it.
Let's on that topic. I'm listening to this. I made a commit. I'm the listener. I made a commitment to myself
Hmm.
to live healthier, and the alarm goes off, and the thoughts are, nah, there's other things. I
Uh-huh.
work hard. I've got a lot going on. This is not fair. What? So now, what? But you're in my ear.
Right.
What's the conversation?
Well, first I'm going to say, Jay, I just had this morning when my alarm went off. Like, I didn't want to do it, bro. Like so to think, and this is kind of the issue we can get into, like, social media, everything looks perfect, right? There is no perfect. Like it hides the ugly. Like I literally just had this morning. My alarm went off. I was tired. I didn't want to go to the gym, but I knew I had a very busy morning. I knew we had this. So if I'm in your ear, I'm telling you, look, what is your end goal? What do you want? Do you want to be healthy? You know, do you want to be happier? Do you want to, like, what do you want? What is the end goal here? So I think it just, a lot of it comes down to priorities, what we're prioritizing. Jay, if I told you you had to get up at 5:30 tomorrow morning for a $1 million sales call, you'd probably get up, right?
What time? 3 a.m., 2 a.m.? Am
See,
I going online?
that's my point.
Why go to sleep?
Right. Prep all night for the call, right?
Why go to sleep?
Yeah. So, I mean,
That's why
that's
I
my
got
point.
this.
Yep. That's my point. It just all comes down to
That's
priorities. Like,
funny.
what are you prioritizing?
What if we don't know what we want?
That's a great question. That's a great question. And I struggle with this a little bit with my, we'll call it purpose. Um, it was actually about a funny story. I was on the stepper with Brian Hess a couple years ago, right? And I have my business Barbacks. I've had it from 2006. It's great, provides me a great living, but I'm not truly passionate about it. Like I love it. I love my clients, and him and I are on a stepper together, right? And we're having this conversation. You know how Brian is. He looks at me. He's like, "Bro, I know what it is." I'm like, "Okay, smart ass. What is it?" He goes, "We're doing it right now, bro. Like you're training me. You're helping me. Like I'm here with you." I'm like, and it was like this gigantic light bulb went off. I'm like, "Son of a gun." So
Wow.
that kind of started my personal training journey right there too. Like, because I mean, it's cliche to say everybody loves helping people, right? But I truly love helping people, and I'm finding this path in personal training really fulfills that mission for
Mm.
me.
At the base, what is personal training? To those that they have their assumptions. Maybe they joined an LA Fitness once
Hmm.
or a retrofit,
Right.
and they left with a $7,000 contract, and they weren't sure what they signed.
Right.
We're laughing. If you know, you know.
Uh-huh, for sure.
What is personal training, absent all the commercialization and things?
Well, yeah, I
How do you
think
feel?
it's safe to say we could take that piece out of it. Um, Personal training for me is someone that's been down that road already that you want to travel, right? So now they may not even have to, like people say personal trainers need to have a six pack. I tend to disagree. Uh, because maybe they just live a healthier lifestyle now. I take back to when I was younger, I was taking golf lessons, and this teacher was one of the best teachers in the area, but he couldn't shoot under 90. So just because you couldn't play golf doesn't mean you couldn't teach. That's what is my point. So personal training to me is someone that's been down the road that's been down before. Do you want to travel? And someone that has the knowledge, the skill set to teach, can look at your aesthetics, your form, see, maybe hips out of place when you're squatting, all those intricacies, and someone that cares. Honestly, they have to care about their client,
Why?
because if you don't care, then they're they're going to take your money. I'm going to take your money, give you a blueprint, and say, "Go have fun." You know, so check back with me in a week or 2 weeks, see how we're doing. I mean, I know time is obviously valuable for everybody, um, but going that extra step, that extra mile, just for people in general, not alone, but let alone clients, I think says a lot about the individual.
What are some of the big, like the hidden roadblocks that undermine people's actions towards fitness, towards health? The roadblocks, maybe even subtle things
I
that
think
you
people just
watch people do.
get in their own head. They get in their own way. You know, they make excuses for themselves. Or it's the other way around. People that have experience. Well, I've always done it this way. Well, what you've done over here has gotten you here. And if you're willing to change, we can't do what we did over there. We have to try something different. That might be the bigger issue. People with a little bit of experience that, they hire a trainer and question every step of the way.
Uh,
you know, well, I did this before. Well, if you did that before, you didn't get the results. So why do you want to do that again? Let's try something different here. Or if you did that before, okay, tell me, what did that look like? Did you get results? How long did it last? How did you feel? You know, was your energy up, energy down? Did your joints start doing that exercise? Did it? All those things. And
mm.
sometimes it's actually harder with people with more experience.
How important is it to ask questions?
Oh,
Like, trainer.
it's great. I mean, I've been with my trainer now for a year and a half, and man, we were prepping for that show. I told him straight up, like, dude, I'm gonna, I'm gonna bombard you with questions because I just want to know for me. I wasn't trying to challenge him because I trusted him and his knowledge. I wanted to know for me, and he appreciated that too. Um, and for me, in my personal training, I don't want to say use. My wife said to me after the show, "Is like, well, you still going to use the trainer?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." For me, it's just continuing education. Like I get to bounce ideas off him, try different things on my own body. For me, different food, different exercises, so I can go teach somebody else because he has a wealth of experience that I trust. So
Mm.
for me, it's just continuing education.
I'd say I've never worked with a trainer, but I'm open to the idea.
Hmm.
What expectations should I have, or expectations? What should I not?
Right. Um, I would say clear direction. Um, knowledge, not knowledge, but understanding of your goals. Like I need to understand where you were, where you're at now, where you want to be. And also you to accept where you're at today, like where you're
Mm,
at right now, and the process that it's going to take. Like if you're 50 pounds overweight, you didn't do that in a week. You didn't do that in 2 months. So you're not going to lose that 50 pound in 2 months. You know what I mean? So the expectation that it's going to take you, I can give you the blueprint, but if you don't go build a house, we're never going to have a house. So you need to do the work. I'll help you. You
mm.
know, I'll hold your hand. I'll slap your, I'll slap you around if need be. But at the end of the day, like I could tell you what to eat, but if you're not eating it, it's not going to happen.
Mm. What about the first time did you ever have apprehension yourself investing in a coach or a mentor, or is that something that came naturally to you?
That has always come naturally to me. Um, Interesting. I was on a podcast the other day and we talked about like between the two of us, we probably have like well over six figures invested in coaching. And
Wow.
um, now a lot of times, was it the best money I ever spent? No, but I mean, I just chalk it up as a learning experience. Um, and a lot of times too. Sorry, I messed with my camera here.
It's all
Uh,
right.
it's what are you getting out of it too? Like for instance, like when I read books, sometimes I won't finish a book. Like I got enough nuggets out of that book and I'm done. Like I feel like I got the value out of it. You know what I mean? Same thing with coaching. Like maybe the coach isn't right for you, so you don't last the whole time with that coach. Sorry, I'm messing with my camera here, fella. So yeah, I think it's just it falls back on you too to get all you can out of that coach.
What was the first one that you ever got?
You mean for personal
Whether was
training
it
or just
business? Did it
yeah,
start
it
business?
was business for sure. Yeah. Um,
What year was that?
oh, that was well. I don't know if I'd call him a coach. It was more like a mentor. Because my first business I ever opened, I was 19, 20 years old. I opened up a pizzeria. Um, so it
I'm
was
sorry.
small. So you know, you know.
Oh,
So yeah, it was an older gentleman who owned an auto body shop and a bunch of real estate, and it was just I didn't pay for that. It was more like a mentorship, but it was just overall business and investment and that type of mentorship. That would probably be the first one I had.
do you want to be an entrepreneur young? Were you
Oh
thinking?
yeah, I that was. I feel like it's always been in my DNA, which is funny because that's not my family trait. Like all the males in my family are like they're all service, like military, police, fire, paramedic, like all of them. Like, and so when I was young, naturally, I thought that's what I had to do. And I remember when I was 15, I joined the fire company because that's what every male in my family did, like for generations. And so a year when you get sworn in when you're 16, I had to have that tough conversation with my dad. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, it's not what I want to do. And surprisingly enough, he was completely supportive. Like, he's like, listen, it's because I did it and your grandfather did it and your uncle did it. And everybody else did. Doesn't mean you have to do it. So from that point forward, I think, I feel like him and I had a little bit of different relationship. Like, I was able to, I don't want to say trust. I've always trusted him, but talk to him and open up more. That was a really cool moment.
Why pizzeria at first?
Well, I worked at one, through high school and stuff, and the guys that I worked for had a couple and they wanted to expand and gave me the opportunity to franchise, and so I did it. But it was
And you never thought about opening a Planet Fitness where you could serve pizza on Fridays?
I mean, it's a hell of a business model, right?
It all combines, right? Oh
Yeah.
man.
Oh man, it's a hell of a business model they got there, that's for sure.
Wow.
um, no. But it was an being so young and so little experience, man, it was I learned a lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
what's a big lesson that you got from that? What, three,
Well,
four years?
listen, man, this was like 1995, 96, somewhere around there. So there was no Instagram. There was no like I don't know if you're old enough to remember. Like we used to have these these papers called the penny saver, right? Like you pay to put a coupon in there. Like
Wow.
that's how you advertise. Right? I'd pay high school kids to walk around neighborhoods, and we call them door hangers. Like put menus on doors. Like
Wow.
that's how you advertise. But being so young, like I didn't know what I didn't know. You know, the guys helped me as much as they could, but I got burnt out after about 3 years. Like I would literally I would work 9, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. midnight. I go out with my buddies till 2, 3 in the morning, sleep 3 or 4 hours, and do it all over again. Uh,
Mm.
I don't regret one bit of it. Like the information and knowledge I got from it was awesome.
The first time you picked up a weight or it was something physical, when was that?
Oh, I was young, 10, 11 years old. Um, yeah, and then shortly thereafter is when my parents bought me my first weight set for Christmas. I think I was probably 12, 11, 12 years old.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Oh, really? Nice. Yeah.
We can
No,
only afford one of each.
yeah. Yeah. No, I fell in love with it immediately. Like I mean, full transparency, my self-esteem was never the best. So I kind of used that as a avenue to combat that a little bit. Like if I can
Hmm.
transform my outer self, maybe it would help my inner self. So yeah, I fell in love with it right away.
Were you heavy then?
I was always I'm short, I'm 5'6", and I was always chunky, you know, like not really obese, but just chunky.
Like meso, endo, ectomorph?
Yeah.
Which one would you say? More
Uh
endo, meso, or?
probably probably meso, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um so yeah, I was just and I felt like it help the inside of me, if that makes sense. No,
What
yeah.
were the first workouts? Yeah, dumbbells, but bench press. What'd you have?
Oh, they bought me the bench press, but they were the old ones where they were like the real thin ones. Your arms were out here, remember? No.
Yeah, yeah, you were one of those rich kids. I'm
Yeah,
just
the Joe Weider. That's what it was. The Joe
oh, that's
Weider bench.
good.
Yeah, with the I think I even had the steel plates. I didn't even have the sand ones. So,
Now, when did you use it?
what do you mean?
Like, did you do it after school, before school?
Oh, but after school, yeah, yeah. That was the before I used to like getting up real early. Um, and then I joined a gym 14 or 15, 'cause I remember me and my buddies used to ride our bikes there. It was a Gold's Gym in over where we used to live. Still there, it's a different name now. And once I went in there, that was it. I fell in love.
What do you think it was?
Again, I think full transparency, I think it was I love the work, but more importantly, I think it helped me and almost hid my insecurities, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Uh,
totally.
I was insecure
That's a-
inside, and I felt like, well, if I could change my outside, this is going to change me. And it didn't. I mean, it took me a long time to kind of progress and grow and get over that. Yeah, I consider myself a late bloomer. Interesting. I've had this conversation with my therapist several times. Man, I'm gonna get a little personal here if you don't mind. Like, I grew up like my dad was a cop, military, like tough, tough, tough. But my mom was a very, and bless her soul, she passed in 2020.
Mm.
She was very um, woe is meism. Everything's not my fault, and I picked up on that early, and I was like that for a while till probably my mid 20s
Mm.
when I recognized it. Right, I recognized her doing it and recognized, holy shit, I'm becoming this. You know, and that's when I decided to change. I started getting into the self help books and um, because I knew like I did that served no purpose. You can't grow in that mindset.
Mm.
And again, that's where the workout helps too with that.
I remember freshman year, I was in the gym working out at the school, and one of my best friends, or at least I thought he was my best friend. I may not have been his, but he always respected me. Was talking about this weightlifting thing, meet, and they were on the incline. We were on the incline working out together.
Mhm.
I was really into it back then.
Yeah.
And this senior comes in who was the coolest kid, the football, like cool. And he was talking to my buddy who was like he was varsity freshman. He was like one of those it kids, right?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, talking about that meet. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And the guy looks at me and just destroyed me. Who are you?
Yeah.
And so this is what I did. I went to the gym, man. By the time I saw that guy 4 years later, he didn't recognize me. I was like 200 pounds.
Yeah.
I
I was
mean,
gonna say, so what made you did that to kind of prove him wrong? Was that like your
that's
motivation?
just a memory that never leaves,
I see.
but just so much I can personally relate to you. It's such a
Right.
level because those at 12 years old with the 1 5 pounder,
Yeah.
I was fat, like the 10 pounder. By
Yeah.
freshman year, I had all I had was one bicep,
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah.
So this guy wasn't wrong, by the way.
Right.
I don't want to
Yeah.
shame him, but I like he destroyed me. And then that first summer, 14, every day in the summer, I don't the gym was a boutique. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but me and Mike Sayad went together. He lasted about 3 weeks and then he was gone.
Yeah.
And I never left.
It happens. It
Yep.
happens.
Did it
Yeah.
every day until my mid 20s.
Yeah.
But I love talking about this stuff.
No, me too, man.
It's a
Me
whole
too.
phase that I don't get to think about a lot. Like,
Yeah.
not that it's got, I mean, I'm exercising, I mean, I'm promoting TCS Fit. Let's get
Right. For sure.
healthy.
Yeah.
But I really identify with that. And I'm sure our listeners do too.
100%. 100%.
So you're what now? Was it a mentor or a circumstance that led to being in the distribution business? Because it's just an opportunity because you've been in it a long time. You've created
Yeah.
life.
So I spent like my whole working career in the restaurant business, right? I had my pizzeria first. Left there. I worked for the Cracker Barrel for almost 6 years. I was a GM and I traveled and opened stores, closed stores, all that stuff. So, you talk to anybody in that industry, once it's in your blood, it's kind of hard to leave. Um, but I knew that's something I didn't want to do forever either. So being in that business, I saw this kind of niche market for this because I live in Pennsylvania. We have kind of different laws, which actually provides me a business. I couldn't do this in other states. So we're like the middleman between
Uh,
the state stores and the bars, restaurants, um, convention centers, hotels, all that stuff. So I saw an opportunity there to kind of be in the business, but not be in the business. So yeah, I started one man show in 2006. It was just me in a van for the first 7 years, I think. Um,
huh.
and then I was caught in that trap where I think a lot of especially small business owners get in, where they're working too much in the business, not on the business. Um, and if I wanted to grow, I needed to hire somebody. That's when I hired my first employee 7 years later, and bought another truck and a van. I have a couple more now. So yeah, it's the pandemic was rough because we shut down because that industry shut down. So that was it was a real hard time to watch your business go to zero, like that, like
Wow.
literally like that. It took a lot of mental strength and clarity and talks, but it also opened my eyes to be able to step back, look at my business from a 10,000-foot view. Okay, this is going to come back. What can I do better? How can I do better when we come back? What can I do now um, to make it better when we do come back? I kept in touch with all my clients and other people's clients. So when we come back, right now we're busier than we've ever been. And I think, I see it as a blessing now because I was able to step back and look at it from a 10,000-foot view, which I wouldn't say I never did before, but it's been a long time. Because I was kind of coasting at that point, if I'm honest, in my business. And then it shut down. It forced me to see things differently.
Mm.
So, perspective is everything, right? So I view it as a blessing now.
What would you say are some of the like what's the value that you've demonstrated with your customers over the years that you maintain these relationships?
I think just you said the word right there, providing value,
Mm.
that other people, my competitors don't. I preach this with my guys, like taking the extra step, doing things that our competitors won't do, spending a little bit more time with our clients. So I think just you hit the nail on the word right there is just providing more value.
Mm. How important is accessibility with as it relates to like let's say a trainer and a client? What degree like how or accessibility is that important? Like how do you approach that? Like communication and how involved do you get? Do you move in with them? Do you
I think it's important, however, and I've had this conversation with my trainer who has a lot of clients. I'm new to this, so I have a handful. So I can be as accessible as I want to be, right? But he's trying to teach me, look, like you want to be accessible, you want to be there for them, but at the same time, your time, you have a family, you have another business, you have other clients. So there has to be the expectation with the client that look, if you text me after whatever it is for your situation, like my situation, after 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I may not get back to you till the next day. Unless it's you call me with 911, like I'm having a heart attack or something. I'm probably not getting back to you next day. I think it's that kind of thing. And I think it's setting that expectation up front so the client knows, they're not surprised later. Like, we didn't have this conversation. I expect to talk to you at 11 p.m. because I'm up. Well, I've already got 2 hours of sleep in. Sorry. So I think it's and it can also be client specific, right? Maybe a client needs. I'm up early, so maybe they need a phone call 4:30 a.m. wake up call. I'm already up early, so I can do that for them. No big deal. Other people, like I said, 11 p.m. I'm not available. So I think it's setting the expectation up front and then on the onboarding process. So
I'm at, Joe, the entrepreneur. How many days in the gym am I in there in the first year? A week. Sorry, how many days a week in the gym am I in there the first year? I know that's a generalization, but unfortunately we don't get to
well, I
too
mean, there's a
specific
lot.
listeners, right?
There's a lot more just giving you like, what are you doing now? When's the last time you trained?
Hmm,
Are you overweight now? Do you have injuries? Like that's I have 30 questions before I can answer that question. You know what I mean?
like that.
Yeah.
Why
There's
is that? Why is that diagnostic so important?
because I need to know where you're at right now. Um, that's it. Like I need to know what you've done before, where you're at now, what worked before, what didn't work before, if you're overweight, if you're underweight, all that stuff. Like if you haven't worked out in years and you're 50 pounds overweight, I may not send you to the gym. I may send you for a walk every day for 3 or 4 weeks before you even get into the gym. Because listen, man, people don't understand, like, especially really overweight people, going to the gym and lifting weights actually creates more stress on your body. I mean, you understand that. Like, it creates more cortisol, creates more stress on the body. So maybe I don't want the severe overweight guy in the gym just yet. He already has enough stress just from being overweight. So maybe we'll just take walks for a month, you know, eventually maybe put a vest on the last couple of weeks and then get into the gym. So it's yeah, there's a bunch of questions.
But what about 6 minute abs?
I mean, what about the 30-minute that, the 60-day this, the 90-day that?
This doesn't
Um,
add up, Mark.
I mean, it's Jay, it's that's why I coach more for lifestyle, right? Like not everybody wants to look like me, not everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, and that's great. Like that's why I want to know your goals up front. Maybe you just want to get in shape. And 6 minute abs is never gonna work. Like when I was in my bodybuilding show, I was 5% body fat. That's unsustainable. I can't expect to stay that way. Like, I want to go out to eat with my wife every now and then. I'll take a glass of wine every now and then. Like, that's living a life, a sustainable lifestyle where you can stay healthy. And you listen, a lot of people, some people don't want abs either. That's fine. You can be healthy and not have abs. That's fine. Like, that's the problem with the culture we're living in now with this, Instagram, Facebook, like, perfection. Like, you don't need to have abs to be
You
perfect,
think
to be
that
healthy.
you think that is dissuading people from getting started?
The 100%, bro. 100%. Because they look at this long road they have to travel, and they don't wanna travel that road because 'cause they're looking at this perfection, and they don't know what it takes to get there. Or they'll start, don't see results in 17 minutes, and they quit.
What's been the response from the community? Have the people been excited though to um have someone that cares around?
So far, yeah. I mean, Brian and I still gotta get together to get these calls, going, but, just being in the app and stuff, and I've worked with several of the guys in the group one-on-one, seeing results, so, yeah, it's been net positive so far.
Hmm,
Well, I'm honored to be in the group, working with a bunch of, successful go-getters, but that's a challenge though too. Because these guys are very successful, right? A lot of
sure.
them. It's getting them, we talked about prioritization before. It's getting them to flip that switch from work, business, go, go, go to over here. Let me work on myself a little bit. Like, let me take an hour a day for myself, not on my business. You know what I mean? You're not losing that hour. You're actually gaining more time if you think about it, because you have more energy, you have more time, you have more mental clarity throughout the day. So it's
Like, yeah, what's your strongest argument for that 1 hour investment or that 45-minute, 30-minute investment?
investment right there. These guys make investments all day long, right? In their business. They buy new equipment, they hire more people. So why not they make investment? Who's the most important person in your life? It should be you. Because without you, yeah, your business may keep running, but I don't know. It will be as effective. I don't know. So why not make the investment in you? A, you're transforming yourself, having more time, having more energy, having more mental clarity, and B, you're setting an example for your team. I mean, maybe you have kids too. You're setting an example for your family, your team, your employees. Now they're all looking at you, go, man, he's running this business and he's fit. Huh. Maybe I could do it too. So
You were on a podcast, you were saying that your son was saying, "Hey, are we doing push-ups today? Did you get to the
yeah,
gym?"
yeah, yeah.
What's
He's
that like?
oh, I freaking love it, man. It's just somebody told me a long time ago. It's you could tell a kid whatever you want, but more is caught than taught. Like, and to see him like every Sunday morning now, he comes to the gym with me. We do kickboxing together, and he wants to get up. Like he gets up and hops out of bed right away. Um, most mornings he does his little workout on his own. He has it on his wall there. Like he does push ups, like air squats, like so. They see us doing it. My wife and I, she works out too, and it makes it.
Hmm.
They want to follow suit. It's really cool.
What advice do you have for somebody that is not used to getting up, six before 6 a.m.? How to what have you done that's worked to get up?
So let's say hypothetical, they get up at 6, but they need to get up at 4:30 to work out and get their day
Sure.
started. I would say don't go right to 4:30. Go to 5:30 for a couple days, a week or so. Then go to 5:15 or five o'clock if you can, because that hour and a half. And listen, I've done it. You'll get used to it, but you may be unnecessarily tired. I mean, some people listen. Some people can do it. They can go, okay, I can tell them get up at 4:30. Okay, I'll do it. But most people like just go in half-hour increments. Go to 5:30 for a week, 5 o'clock for a week, and then 4:30. Get your body a little bit acclimated towards it.
What what are ways that someone can get now? I'm thinking, okay, I need discipline for that or something. Just even do 1 week of a certain time.
Uh,
What are you drawing on? Like, is it
you
your
need,
faith? Is it I'm thinking if I'm gonna go a week, what you just recommended sounds like a very smart idea.
uh,
I need to be able to do that for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks
right.
to get to the four. What am I drawing on? How do I where do I get that discipline? Or do you draw where? How do you are you drawing from some other source? Is it that you have a trainer? Is it that you're just more disciplined than me? Is it that it's your faith? What is it?
Uh, I think a lot of it has come back to finding that why again. Why do you want to get up early? And what I do to myself, like this morning, perfect example. I know how I'm gonna feel later if I don't get up. I'm gonna be pissed 'cause I didn't get up. I'm gonna be pissed because I'm have to go to the gym later, which I normally don't do. So, and this has been said 1,000 times, but the best way to gain self confidence is keeping the promises you make to yourself. So promise yourself you're gonna get up at 5:30. Like make that promise. Like tell everyone in your family too. Tell an employee. Like have other people hold you accountable. If you tell them you're gonna do it, if you tell somebody else you're gonna do it, sometimes that can be a greater motivator than just telling yourself. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
somebody else is depending on you, so to speak, then maybe you'll do it. But I think the biggest thing is like just make that promise to yourself that you're going to do it. Just do it.
good point. Because now you're not just disrespecting yourself, you're disrespecting someone else.
Right. Right.
It's like you're
You-
doubly an ass.
Yeah. Right. Like tell somebody like, look, like ask me if I get up this morning when I get in. Because now you have to answer that question. No, I didn't. You know you screwed up. You don't want to answer that question. No. No.
What do you say to the people that are saying, "Hey, I don't want to eat like you"?
Well, how do you want to eat? You don't have to eat like me, but how do you want to eat?
Mm,
What are your goals then? Like if again, there's a myriad of questions
mm,
that it's not a simple answer. Like, well, what okay, you don't want a six pack. What do you want to look like? Show me a picture.
mm,
Yeah, you don't have to eat like me, but you're gonna have to change something because you're asking that question because you're not happy where you're at now. So
mm.
you can't continue to eat the way you are now. There's got to be somewhere in the middle. So not everybody has to eat like it.
The inspiration for this new day podcast, what was that?
Ooh, so 2020, March of 2020, my business goes to zero. Um, May I lost my mother.
Ah,
August I lost my grandfather. Um, so it was shortly after that I was I was not in a good space. Just like it wasn't my wife and kids. Anyway, and I'm a pretty faithful guy. I mean, I call myself an infant in my journey, but I mean I've always believed in God, believed in Um, I was standing in my bathroom, staring at the mirror. Uh, what felt like 5 minutes was probably 30 seconds, whatever. But and I couldn't see anything. Like it was just empty, and I felt like this. It felt like there were kind of like hands on my shoulders, not like pushing me, but just like pressure. And I just got on my knees, and like it just came out. I said, thank you God for this new day. Like I will do my best not to waste it. I would do my best to be a better person. And that when I said it, then that it just would not leave my brain. Like this new day, like it. So that's where it came from.
mm.
That moment in time, and I truly believe it was God that His hands were on my shoulders. Um, yeah, I started a clothing line for a little bit there, which again that helped me. It helped me because I was doing all like press myself, like everything. It helped me do something in that time to feel like I had some sort of purpose. Like wasn't making any money doing it. There's no money in apparel, but I was doing like physically doing something like every day, which helped me.
Mm.
So yeah, that's where it came from. And this day, I still say it every morning. I post it every morning, like because listen, man, you woke up, you got another chance. Like as bad as yesterday might have sucked, you have a whole new beginning, a whole other chance to do something better, to make today better than it was yesterday. That's where it comes from. That moment.
makes me think of our quote: "The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be."
Mhm. Yep.
Emerson.
Yep. Absolutely. Funny you picked that quote, huh? There are no coincidences. Yeah.
Mark, how can our listeners follow you and reach out to you? The easiest
Um,
way.
Instagram's probably the best place where I post the most at Mark_Ferrelli. Same thing on Facebook, but those are the two most active places. I do have the This New Day podcast. There's about a dozen episodes right now. I'm going to restart that here soon. Um, yeah, like if you need any help at all with personal training or just general advice, I'm happy to have a conversation for sure. I'd love to help.
And your word for 2024,
My word, say again.
like a word for 2024. Do you have, or if you had one, what would it be?
Uh, it's actually the same as last year. I kept it because it made me do it was uncomfortable action.
Mm.
So that's what forced me to do the bodybuilding show last year. There was nothing more uncomfortable than that stepping on stage. So yes, uncomfortable action. So,
Are you glad that you did the bodybuilding show?
oh, 100%, man. I you know, it's because it's something I wanted to do my whole life, right? I always thought about it, but I never. Again, it goes back to the self confidence thing. I'm like, there's no way. Like, I'm not. I don't even like in shape, out of shape. Like, I'm not the dude. Like, I didn't even wear a tank top till last year, Jay. Like, I'm not the guy that walks around with his shirt off. Like, it's just not. And I'm not saying that's. It's just not me. So the thought of body, like getting on stage, like just scared the living shit out of me. But I knew it was something I always wanted to do. I'm going to be 50 this year. Not that it matters, but I'm like, all right,
Huh?
now's the time. My wife is totally supportive. But man, I have fun. I mean, the journey sucked. It's hard. I mean, it's a grind. But that actual day, I had so much fun. Like more than I ever thought I had. Like the stage did not scare me at all. Like as soon as I get up there, it was just like all the stress just washed away. It was awesome. It was awesome.
What did you learn about yourself?
That we, not only me, but we as people were so much capable of so much more, man. Like I believe we're all walking around using like 10, 20% of our brains, like literally. Like we are capable of so physically and mentally, man. Like the dark days I had in prep. You've done a bodybuilding show, right?
No,
No? I mean you were into
no.
bodybuilding, like,
I was interested in being looked at the beach
yeah.
at that time.
But I mean the dark days, man, in prep where I would just sit in a dark room, starving, miserable, like
Hmm.
the mental toughness you have to go through to be able to sit there and not get up and eat, or it just it was something else, man. It was something else,
Hmm.
and just the willpower to be able to do like there was one time I remember this specifically. I went back. I was doing 2 a days, obviously, 'cause so much cardio. I went back in the afternoon to do cardio, and I pulled in the parking lot. And Jay, my legs and my feet like physically hurt so bad, like I was literally in tears. Like I'm like I can't do this anymore. So finally, I get out of the car. I go to the gym, and I'm just like holding the handrails on the stepper, and I'm like, literally praying, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, and I get on that thing, and I swear to you, it was like 5 minutes, and 75 minutes went by. Like again, I feel like that was like the my will. I just willed my way through it and be like, God's like, all right, I got you on this one. Like, I
Wow.
literally was like, how did that just happen? Like I physically couldn't get out of my car, and now I'm here on a stepper. So yeah, it's your mind and your body are capable of way more than you think. Way more than you think. So I would
So-
tell everybody just to push yourself a little bit more.
Someone listening to this, they want to do something today. Is it just going for that walk? They're listening to this, like, all right, I'm ready.
You mean like working out, physical fitness?
Something for themselves.
Absolutely. That's the number one thing I say. Go for a walk. Go for a walk. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40, whatever you can do, go for a walk. Then do it again tomorrow. Then do it again tomorrow. And as far as diet, man, like make small changes. If you're drinking 6 Mountain Dews a day, drink 5 tomorrow for a couple days. 10 day, week later, drink 4 a day. It's it's people. Some people can cut everything out and be good, but that's a very small percentage. Most people need to make incremental moves, right? Up that ladder. So I don't just make those small changes. Like if you're going to McDonald's 3 times a week now, go twice a week for a week. Third week, go once. Like make those small changes. Because you're still getting that little bit of dopamine hit, right? But it's not as much as before. You're just kind of weaning off a little bit. Because if I tell you, if you're drinking 6 Mountain Dews a day, I tell you to stop tomorrow, you're gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Like literally. So plus you're gonna see physical changes too just by making those small incremental changes. So yeah, just start. Period. Just start. Quit making excuses. Just go. And B, make those changes small incrementally. If you used to go to the gym before, if you used to be a gym rat and it's 10 years later you haven't been in the gym, don't walk into that gym expecting you're gonna bench 315. It's not gonna happen. Like check your ego at the door. You're
That's
starting
funny.
over. Like that's another issue I see with some people. Like, oh, I used to do this. Well, yeah, that was a long time ago. Your body's a little different now. So
Oh boy,
yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on today. I
Yeah.
really can't thank you enough.
Thanks for
Shout out
having
to
me.
listeners.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, look into Mark, follow him, Instagram, and please leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast. And we will see you next time on the Culture Matters podcast. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.